Everybody knows that the boat is leaking. Everybody knows the captain lied. Everybody got this broken feeling like their father or their dog just died. Everybody talking to their pockets. Everybody wants a box of
And welcome back to the Grassroots Connection, where we provide the information you need to make an informed decision. And today we have special guest Karen Meyer Hopkins from Grand Isle, Louisiana, and we're just continuing the interview from yesterday. Before I get back into it, though, I wanted to give out our call numbers, 742-1230. 742-1230 gets you in locally, and toll-free at 888-671-7278. We've changed lines, so hopefully we have that little whistle out of the out of the stream here. Anyway, we have Karen Myers on, and I'm going to go ahead and open the line back up, and let's see if she's still here. Hello, Karen, are you still there?
I'm here.
Well, fantastic. I don't hear that little buzz, so I think we're all good. I wanted to kind of touch on one question here about disclaimers that basically protect the FDA in case the seafood is contaminated, and they're requiring you guys to sign these disclaimers. Am I correct? The fishermen?
You are correct. We have all of our processors, our seafood processors, are being required, and I'll read to you verbatim from the cover letter we received. It says a new mandatory requirement by the U.S. FDA is to ensure no seafood may be harvested from an area that is covered by a local, state, or federal closure, or for which there is additional information that indicates potential hazards related to an oil spill. Okay, so we don't have a problem with our fishermen, signing a statement saying that all of their seafood was harvested from waters that were declared open and safe to fish in by the FDA or any other law enforcement or government agency. We don't have a problem with that at all. Our fishermen fish in open waters, and they don't fish in closed waters, period.
Mm-hmm.
What we do have a problem with is the FDA trying to hoist the responsibility of trying to figure out what the definition is of additional information that indicates potential hazards related to an oil spill onto our fishermen.
It sounds like legalese for
I'm not responsible, but you are.
That's exactly right.
Exactly.
Yes.
The FDA is using the HACCP, Hazard Analysis and Control Critical Point rules and regulations as applied to food handling.
Right.
They're using this HACCP regulation to foist this on us. And our fishermen are told what waters are open and legal to fish in. And they're told that the seafood is safe to harvest and consume.
Right.
That's all they need to know.
Right.
That's all they need to worry about because the government made it so, mandated it.
And now, certainly they shouldn't be able to go back later on and hold the fishermen liable.
Absolutely not. So what we're trying to find out is, because legalese and governmental jargon can be very confusing and misleading. Additional information that indicates potential hazards related to an oil spill. How do they define additional information?
Right.
How do they define potential hazards? And how is the fisherman supposed to correlate those two to an oil spill?
Right.
It's
exactly.
not the fisherman's job.
Well, the fisherman would need an attorney to review the contract before he ever signed the thing. I mean, that sounds blatantly like they're just shifting the responsibility onto the fishermen.
Right. If people become ill because they've consumed contaminated fish or shrimp, then the responsibility is no longer on BP because the FDA and the EPA condoned and approved the use of Corexit.
That's hogwash.
Okay, this is what we're being told. So then the FDA and the EPA is the federal government. So, of course, how many cases have you heard of a poor fisherman suing the federal government and winning?
Not very many, not in his lifetime,
So now what's going to happen is if someone gets sick from consuming contaminated seafood because this fisherman was forced to sign this disclaimer because the processing facility will not buy the shrimp unless that shrimp is accompanied by this disclaimer, then the fisherman becomes the responsible party in the lawsuit.
So, in essence, if any fisherman has any ethics or any kind of conscience, and he's not sure if this food is contaminated, and, he can't rely on the government or, any of these agencies to test it and verify 100% that it is not, then he would back away and basically be put out of business.
Absolutely.
Either he sells contaminated food or he just starves to death.
That's right. There are, we do have fishermen out, fishing the Gulf waters who are confident, and some of them, feel confident and they, and justified in fishing. That's all they know, and they have no other choice, and the government says it's safe, so they feel confident that that's what they're doing. I
don't know why they would feel confident.
We have some who refuse to go back to fishing and have no idea what they're going to do in the future because they will not sign this disclaimer.
I wouldn't do it either.
I wouldn't either, but when it comes to the point of losing your home and feeding your family, it's a hard decision to make. We discussed the power of money last night, and it's a very difficult decision to make. Some of my fishermen are being penalized by BP because they went back to work when the waters were opened for fishing. So in the final analysis of their oil spill claim, when they sign a final release on a settlement, the money that they made fishing is going to be deducted from their final settlement.
Yeah, that's insane.
And it in essence encourages the fishermen to sit at home on their butts and earn nothing and get nothing deducted from the final claim. It's just, the whole thing is a Pandora's box of twists and turns, and they've designed it. Politicians have designed it that way to confuse the little guy and to put money in the pockets of the attorneys who are going to eventually have to be hired to represent these people.
Yes. It really sounds despicable. Why would they tie their hands? They want to deduct any fees that they make for cleaning up from their settlement.
They've already overturned that. Feinberg has already published that he will not be doing that. So if Feinberg will not be deducting the VU payments that were earned for the cleanup from the final settlement, then how in the world can they justify deducting these men going back fishing once they've been laid off from the VU program in waters that they've declared safe to fish in? How in the world can they deduct the sales of that seafood?
They can't, or shouldn't anyway. I mean,
exactly.
They can, but I have some calls. My lines are just lit up here. I just wanted to take a second to talk to the callers. Callers, unfortunately, we had some issues yesterday with our conference call line. We can't really take calls on the 742 or 888 phone number. What we'll do is I'll answer the phones during the break, and any questions you have I'll bring to the table, unfortunately, until we get the phones set up correctly, or basically a Skype unit is what we're going to put in here and solve this problem. We're just going to have to deal with it the way it is. I'm sorry. My apologies. But anyway, go ahead. We've got looks like about 3 minutes before the break. And the VOO program is the vehicles vessel of opportunity. Right.
Right. Right now they're scaling back immensely on the Vessels of Opportunity program. Here in Grand Isle, we've been told that the Grand Isle vessels that still remain on the VOO program have done their last drill. They do these drills so that they know how to go into formation in case of an oil slick. Mm-hmm. Their last drill was done this week, and they will all be put on a schedule for decontamination of the vessels, and they will be paid until their vessels have been properly decontaminated, and then they'll be on their own. And that should be before the end of October. All of the vessels should have gone through decontamination by then.
Well, it sounds like they are moving forward on some things that are positive.
They're moving forward on getting out.
Well, back to the big question. My understanding is that BP is pulled out of the cleanup effort altogether, and that 80% of the oil or 90% of the oil is still there.
It is still there, and what they needed to do was do away with the VOO program, because there is still oil on the surface of the water. However, they needed to get a SOO program, a Submarines of Opportunity.
Huh.
So we can get underneath the water and clean up what they sunk.
Well, how do you do that?
We don't know how we're going to do that. We have no idea how we're going to do that. I have information that when FDA was out here conducting their drag of the bottom to see if the waters were suitable for opening, I have information that the FDA was instructed for the nets to be held 4 feet off the bottom of the Gulf floor during the drag.
Yeah.
And, of course, they found nothing.
Right.
But you won't find anything when you're dragging 4 feet above the ocean floor.
That is correct. It sounds like they set it up to fail to begin with.
Absolutely. Just like they set up this VOO program. They've set it up to be able to take away from the fishermen what they rightfully earned, and without the voice of the people and the voice of the fishermen constantly contacting Feinberg and his people, they would still be attempting to rob the fishermen of the earnings that they rightfully deserve.
Well, I'm glad that some of this heat is getting under their skin. We hear the music. That means we're headed into a break. If you'll hold on for me, I'll carry over into the next segment. We still got lots to talk about.
Yes, we do.
Okay, I'm going to hold you over, Karen.
Thank you.
Thank you. And you're with the Grassroots Connection. We'll be right back with more Grassroots right after this commercial break.